What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Haulin Bass TV. How are you guys doing today? I am super excited today because I finally got May's Lucky Tackle Box. Yes, we're doing another review on Lucky Tackle Box and an unboxing video. I am super stoked for this one because I was actually on their Instagram page the other day and I saw that this month's theme is shallow water. And I am not a very good offshore fisherman. It's something that I need to get better at, but it's not something that I particularly enjoy. Shallow water is something that I really enjoy. But before we get this video started, please make sure you guys subscribe, hit that thumbs up if you like the content, and let's roll that sweet, succulent intro and get right into this video. Let's get this thing cracked open. Maybe sometime today. I always love their wrapping paper that they give us. Look at that. I always thought that was pretty cool. Anyways, so we're gonna pull out the info card. It shows you everything that's on there, or in the box, I should say. And on the back side, it gives you a little bit of what's going on, and it actually gives you the theme, that shallow water theme right there. And then, next thing we got is the monthly magazine. I actually enjoy these. I read them pretty much all the way through because I don't know everything about fishing, that's for sure. And I almost at least pick one thing out of here that I learn almost every month from these guys. Let's get this thing cracked open. Maybe sometime today. I always love their wrapping paper that they give us. Look at that. I always thought that was pretty cool. Anyways, so we're gonna pull out the info card. It shows you everything that's on there, or in the box, I should say. And on the back side, it gives you a little bit of what's going on, and it actually gives you the theme, that shallow water theme right there. And then, next thing we got is the monthly magazine. I actually enjoy these. I read them pretty much all the way through because I don't know everything about fishing, that's for sure. And I almost at least pick one thing out of here that I learn almost every month from these guys. So this is a bait called by Bait Rigs Tackle Company. It's a soft plastic. Looks like a really short curly tail worm or a really long grub almost. And that's what it is. Something to slow down a little bit with. Oh, that's interesting. The heads on them have very small ribs instead of the larger ones. If you can see that right there, and then it's got a curly tail on it. They seem pretty durable, pretty stretchy. They have the regular soft plastic smell of your grandpa's tackle box once he hadn't used it for a while and all of them melted in there. And did that have a color on that one? Let's see. They did not have a color on that one. It's like a cinnamon color almost with a little bit of red flake in it. And it's the same thing again by Bait Rigs Tackle Company. It's actually called the ringtail worm, and it's a chartreuse color with, or a green color actually, I'm sorry, with black and silver flake in that. So the next thing that really catches my eye in here is 6 cents Ned Fry, and it's in Cinnamon Crave. I have yet to try 6 Cents' soft plastics, but I absolutely love their hard baits. And I've been wanting to get a hold of some of these, and I'm very happy that I got them in here. These are the 4.6 inch and they're the 10 count. I'm really excited to try these, especially pitching up into laydowns and stuff like that. Be really good, a little bit muddier water. And then we have another pack of Ned Fry, the 4.6 10 count, and green pumpkin and blue. Also by 6 cents. I really like that color. It stands out really well because it's got a little bit of that blue flake in there. And it doesn't give it a lot of pop, but in slightly stained water, this would be really good to throw on those laydowns or any type of cover that you have, especially getting them up under docks or around docks. That's really good to do that with. The next thing that really catches my eye are these Buzzbaits, and there's 2 of them, one in white and one in black. They are the Clear Cut BB 2000s, and these things actually don't look bad at all. Let's see here. And it's really cool that they send the white and black, because honestly, that's the 2 colors of Buzzbaits, other than maybe a white with a little bit of chartreuse in it, or even a full chartreuse when it's really muddy. But I honestly use a black and white Buzzbait more than anything. It's got a good blade on it. Certainly have to get a squeaker on it, but it's got something other than a rivet on there. It looks like a brass keeper almost. Certainly does squeak already, which is something that I really look for in a buzzbait, is some squeaky buzzbait. That's awesome. The skirt material looks pretty good. Nice stout hook. The wire's not really stiff, so when they come and bite it, they can still get past that wire when they try to eat it, which is something that a stiffer wire hook would prevent you, and you might miss a couple fish doing that way. Let's go into these 2 square bills. They are by Lake Lunkers Custom Baits, and it looks like we have somewhat, it's called the Killer Crank version 2. Looks like we have somewhat of a crawdad color with chartreuse belly on it. The hooks don't seem the highest quality. However, I change out most of my hooks on my crankbaits unless they're really high end. Like 6 Cents has really good hooks. But a lot of the crankbaits that I buy, I change them out for either Gamakatsu or owner hooks. Here is the color, a little bit better. I'm not sure what the depth here is. It's 1/2 ounce and it's 3 to 5 foot on depth. And this would be really good to throw around rocky banks, especially if you have crawfish, on points, rocky points, or even riprap. Crawdads are always, they tend to hole up in rockier areas. And on the opposite side of that scale, we have a shad color with a little bit of chartreuse in it, that chartreuse line. And it's the same crank. It's a 1/2 ounce and it's 3 to 5 foot diving depth. And these actually have really cool colors on there. I don't know if you can see that real well, but it's got that chartreuse and then a little bit of almost green in it, and then that blue back. And I'm gonna change the hooks out on this also. However, this would be really good because the shad spawn is coming up if it hasn't hit you already. The square bills and the shad spawn or spinner baits are absolutely amazing to throw during that time. Okay, so one more crankbait. We have the Skinny Bear Junior Deep. I'm gonna get this thing out of here real quick so we can see the colors on this. Looks like it's got a little bit of flake in it. These boxes are always a pain in the butt. There we go. That color is... Dropped it on the floor. Hold on. Okay, we're back. Let's try that again. That color is so... It's not translucent, but it's so flashy. It's got a lot of flake in it, and it's got a pearl color with a little bit of chartreuse. It's very similar pattern to this. It's just a little bit less vibrant, I should say. But it's still got that flake in it. This is really awesome when you have those 8 to 10 foot banks that you're going down and you get away from a little bit of cover, or you're throwing it on riprap and you notice that those fish aren't quite up on bank. You can throw this out in the 8 to 10 foot area and see if they've moved out off that riprap a little bit, because a lot of those riprap banks are pretty steep. So it's good to have one of these tied on and then also a square bill so that you can transition between those two depths really easily. Okay, so the last two lures, the last two lures that we have in here are by Stellar Jig Company. It's an Arky style head. Don't know if you can see that very well. These Arky style heads are really good for almost anything, and they stand up pretty well on bottom. See if I can do that in my hand since you guys can't see the table. They stand up pretty well when they're doing that. And I actually prefer a jig that stands up a lot, unless obviously it's a swim jig, because when the bass come down and eat it, they're not just getting that weed guard. If it's laying flat like that and they eat it, they're getting just the weed guard or just the head or something. But when it's sitting up like that, the first thing that they're gonna hit is that hook. And your hookup ratio will go up a lot if you have a quality jig that stands up off the bottom. There's no color on this one, but it's got a little bit of brown, a little bit of green pumpkin, and a little bit of watermelon in it. That's actually a really nice jig, and it's got almost an evergreen colored head, stout hook, decently stout weed guard, but yet pretty flexible. So you won't get hung up, but you shouldn't have a problem hooking up with those fish. And the next one we got, it's the same jig, just in a different color. And it's got that purple and black in it. That's really, really nice in stained water or even muddy water, because that black stands out like crazy. To me, when I first started fishing, I was like, black is dark. It's dark underwater, but it's really not. And if you pull your lure up to bank, you can see that really well. This one stands up really well also, and got the same weed guard. And that's an awesome color. I love that. And I actually have it sitting here right on the table from the craw video. That craw right there, that purple craw, would be a perfect match for that jig right there. Just trim it down a little bit, toss on the back, and you're good to go. Okay, let's get into, we got two 2/0 Mustad wide gap hooks in here. Just for either your curly tail worms to throw on the bottom, or even your Ned fry, so you can rig it weedless and pull it through some laydowns. Those two, that's really awesome that they pair all that up for you, so you don't have to go out and buy something extra or just hope that you have it. They give you hooks so that you can go out and fish it, and you don't have to go to the store before you go out and go fishing. So actually we got two different sets of them in here. I didn't even see this one, it was down there. It's a 3/0. So that 2/0 I would actually probably use on that curly tail. And then the 3/0 I would use on the Ned fry because it is just a touch longer. And it gets that hook back a little bit farther so that when the fish eat it, it doesn't, the hook isn't so close to the front of the bait, and they'll actually get hooked in that way. And the last three things that we got in here, we got the Mustad Retractor Nipper Combo. So it's on a retractable sleeve. It's actually cable. It's not even a string, it's a cable. And it's got a hook cleaner right there. I know that sometimes when you buy not so great jig heads, you got paint in them, and it's hard to get that out if you don't have pliers to clamp on there or anything like that, but that solves your problem right there. And on the other end, I know that somebody out there, to include myself, has been out in the water and you have braid on and you need to change your lure, or you just tied a new one on and you realize you don't have scissors, you don't have pliers that'll cut it. It's just a pain in the butt, but these will solve that problem 100%. And this is by Mustad. The last two things in here that are the lucky extras. One thing that I thought was really cool is they sent out some 15-pound mono fishing line. And I don't use mono a whole lot unless it's in a little bit clearer water or even stained water, and I'll use it for a leader on buzzbaits or poppers, something of that nature, or even a top water that has treble hooks, because when you throw braid on with treble hooks, the braid's so limp that sometimes it'll come back and it'll catch those treble hooks and it'll get them all fouled up, and then you got to reel it in and get it undone. But this mono will stay more rigid, and when you cast out, it won't foul up your hooks when you have treble hooks. But this is your 15-pound test, 75 yards, which is really not good for a whole lot of reels because they hold quite a bit more. However, it's a really good small spool to run around if you need some leader material when you're throwing your top waters. It also has a lot of stretch with those treble hooks that gives you a little bit of give when those fish, you're fighting those fish back to the boat. Helps out quite a bit. And the last thing we have in this box today is Lucky Tackle Box glass rattles. And they are 5 millimeters. Let's see if I can't get these out of here real quick for y'all. I know y'all know what rattles are. But it's really cool that they send out rattles, because not very many companies would do that or even think to do that. These things are really cool because I've actually used these in frogs when I'm topwater fishing. There's a lot of things that you can use glass rattles for, but one thing that I have noticed is in really muddy water, or even water that has a touch, not chop, but a little bit of waves on it. If you throw some glass rattles in your frog, the fish will locate it a lot easier when you have those glass rattles, because it's making so much more noise on the water. And normally you don't throw a frog, but if you have a decent sized frog, similar to this Bullywah 2, the 65 series, which is a good sized frog. It's not massive by any means, but it's a good sized frog. You can throw some rattles in there, and that chartreuse bottom with the rattles, it'll help them fish locate that frog a lot easier, so that they can actually get it, and you won't miss nearly as many fish, because they'll be actually eating your bait rather than just nipping at the tails or hitting in front of it. It's just a lot better when you have a couple rattles and really muddy, or with a little bit of chop on that water. I'm always excited when I get my Lucky tackle box in the mail, because it's like Christmas. You never know what you're gonna get. And it's really awesome with Lucky, because they send you out a lot of different companies and a lot of different new baits that you wouldn't normally try at the store. It makes you a better angler. And honestly, I wasn't a huge square bill fisherman before I got a couple in Lucky tackle box. Tried to throw them a couple times. Probably got pretty lucky, because I bounced them off a couple things that I didn't know were there. Caught a couple decent fish. And I've really dove deeper into square bill fishing since that time. And I want to thank Lucky tackle box for that. Also, if you guys haven't already, head on over to Instagram, give us a follow over there, because they get a sneak peek into everything that's going on in this YouTube. Like, I'm currently framing the boat, and you guys may not know that for maybe another month, but Instagram certainly does. However, if you like the content, give us a thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, and you guys have a good one. See y'all later.